So I've got my presentation open in PowerPoint. It's not an option as a window.
I'm going to drop it to you on the... Hello all, we're just working through one more session, so we'll start with you in just a second. But I want to welcome everybody that's watching. Today we have Juliet Stephenson joining us. She is from Close Brothers, and she has an awesome session ready for us today about creating feedback loops throughout the customer journey. Just as an FYI, as I just mentioned, we're having a bit of technical difficulties, so we'll be camera off for this session. And give us just a second as we share our screen. So one moment, please. All right. Can I get a thumbs up if we're able to see that? Go ahead, Julia, kick us off.
Thanks, Gabe. So hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Today, we're going to talk about creating feedback loops throughout the customer journey. So as Gabe said, I'm Juliet. I work for Close Brothers, who are a bank in the UK, and I'm a marketing automation specialist. Next slide, please. Thank you to our incredible sponsors. So I'm going to cover automation rules, email templates, creating integrated feedback surveys, syncing these surveys back into Salesforce, and completing the loop. So just before we go any further, we started with a problem. We wanted to survey our customers. It was a lot of manual work. So for the multiple brands that we have in our business, we were manually creating lists in Salesforce, downloading those lists, uploading them to SurveyMonkey, manually sending those emails, survey emails to customers. And then when we had the responses, we were downloading spreadsheets, creating graphs, reporting, and again, for multiple brands. So where we wanted to go was automating all of that. We wanted dynamic lists. We wanted surveys that went to customers at specific times instead of just an annual. We wanted to integrate all of it with Salesforce, and we wanted to set up dashboard reporting that was live and that could be shared more easily with the rest of the company. So next, please. So we started with welcome. We identified 3 key points in the customer journey that we wanted to survey. Welcome for new customers, in life for customers on their anniversaries, and end of life for customers whose agreement have ended. So for each of those stages, we created dynamic lists. So next, please. So here are dynamic list rules for the welcome. And you can be as specific as you need to be, as I'm sure you all know. We wanted to exclude our customers that were introduced via brokers. We wanted to target specific business units. And we wanted to only send these surveys to customers who'd had a new opportunity won within the last 7 days. Next. So once we had the dynamic list in place, we created an automation rule. It looks for people on that list. It excludes anyone on suppression lists we added, and it sends a specific email template to anyone that matches. Next. So here is the email. And the first survey question is embedded within that email. So once they click on that yes or no, next one, please, Gabe. It takes them straight to the survey. And the URLs for the survey track the respondents. So they don't need to fill in a form. They don't need to give us any extra data. We already know who they are. Next slide, please. So we did the same again for in life, so anniversaries. Next. So the dynamic list, similar. We created 5 of these because our customer agreement's usually 5 years long. So we wanted to ask them on every 12 months, how are we doing? So this one here is looking for around about a year from their first agreement. Next. So here you can see the 5 dynamic lists, the suppression lists again, and an email template for an in-life survey. Next, please. Here's the email. Again, the questions embedded, the links of the merge fields in them already. Next. And here's the survey in Get Feedback, which I'll cover shortly. Next slide is end of life. So again, we created a targeted dynamic list. Next, please. And we're looking for customers whose agreement ended just over 2 weeks ago. Next. And the automation rule, again, looks for the people on that list, suppresses who we want to suppress, and sends them the end of life email. Next. Here it is. Survey question, and next should show the survey itself. So, Get Feedback. Next slide, please. So Get Feedback is a customer experience solution, and it's purpose-built to work with Salesforce. So to start off creating the surveys, next click, please. You can create branded and themed surveys. You can use custom backgrounds. You can use your brand colors. One more click. You can even replace the Get Feedback logo with your own. So as I mentioned before, we have multiple businesses within our company. So it's really important for us to be able to brand them individually and personalize them for each one. So all the colors, all the logos are all exactly what the customer is used to seeing. Next, please. So connecting Get Feedback to Salesforce is really straightforward. There's a setting for integration. You just add a new connection. You need to sign in with a account. So maybe a Salesforce admin might need to do this. Has the correct permissions. Once that's done, it creates new objects within Salesforce for survey, response, and answer. Once that's done, it stays connected in the background. And each time you create a survey, so what you can see here is our welcome survey, and we've turned on the connection. So it's going to push any survey results through to our Salesforce instance. And next, please. So once a customer has completed the response and submitted it and Get Feedback, it syncs straight back to Salesforce. So next, please. So the first thing that happens is a chatter notification goes to the contact owner. They can then see a URL. They can click on this URL, and that will take them to Get Feedback, specifically to that survey that their customers just filled in. They can click through the results. So I think if you do one more click, we should be able to see that. There we go. And they can click through, and the answer that their customer has chosen will be highlighted for them. So once we've got these responses within Salesforce, we can then create a data set, and we can put this into Analytics Studio and create some dashboards. So if we go to the next slide, please. And one more. So here you can see our responses dashboard. We've created tabs for each customer journey stage survey. It then pulls through all the responses, not just scores, but comments too. So you can obviously display these in whichever way is easiest for you. The comments, you can literally have raw comments in a text box with the customer's name, the account owner, the division. I haven't shown it here, obviously, because data protection, but it's really helpful when you're sharing these results. You can see instantly who said what and who's responsible for that customer. You can also, using the dashboards, filter the results in a ton of ways. So we've got created date up there. So you can do fiscal year, month, you can compare month on month. We've also added filters for our different business units, which is really useful when sharing these dashboards with the relevant management. They may only be interested in one unit, so they would just click on one of those filters and they will only see responses that are from customers that are assigned to them. So next slide then, please. There's just some more scoring and questions. Next. So in doing all of this, we've created feedback loops. We've asked for data from the customers. They've responded. It's gone instantly back into Salesforce. If anything needs to be actioned or worked on, the relevant people are notified straight away. They can close that loop. But what we've also done is created our own looping feedback process, which is pretty much all automated at this point. So just one click, please. Identify. So using the dynamic lists, we sort of narrow in and identify on these specific groups of customers that we want to talk to. And again, this is all now automatic. Next, please. We're surveying them, so we're automatically sending them a survey. It's really easy for them to click through, and we're automatically pulling through their information. So again, there's no form for them to fill in to tell us who they are. Next. Reporting. So what used to be a super manual process and would have to be manually calculated and shared is now automatic with the dashboards updating every 24 hours. We can give access to these dashboards to anyone who needs them in the company. They don't need to go to a certain person anymore and request this data that they may then have to wait for. They can simply go and have a look on the dashboard themselves. So we had a problem. Have we solved it? Absolutely. Identification, email, survey, syncing, and reporting is all ongoing, all the time. And as I said, minimal intervention from ourselves compared to a month's worth of work once a year for one static set of results from varying types of customers. Next, please. And there's our loop going back. So welcome, anniversary, anniversary, anniversary. And we just keep going to keep checking in with our customers. Next. So that's how we did it. Thank you so much for listening. Happy to answer any questions. And if anyone wants to connect on LinkedIn, please add me. So how did you embed their info in the survey? Is the survey built in product form? So the survey is all built in Get Feedback. And Get Feedback has an option to create code for you that you can then embed back into the email template in Pardot. What I tend to do is just take the URLs it generates for you and put them into the buttons in our email template in the survey. And you can, within Get Feedback, you can specify which merge fields you want to go in those URLs. So we have recipient name and ID, and that identifies them within Salesforce. Are you leveraging BUs for your different brands? Why or why not? So we've got a whole lot of business units within our company. We have a signed business unit which we use to identify them all, and then we also have sort of like a lower categorization. So yes is the short answer. It helps us distinguish between the customers, and for something like this, it's really useful to be able to create those targeted lists. Why don't you use product form to build in surveys? Good question. So when I started on this project, Get Feedback was what we had. And compared to SurveyMonkey, it just seemed a lot simpler, a lot more straightforward to just connect up and leave running. But sure, you could absolutely use product form. The survey feature with tracking seems great. Can we take one step back, explain how you made the survey prior to embedding in the emails? Sure. So within Get Feedback, you create a new survey, you add your questions. It's all done separately from Salesforce and Pardot. So as I showed, you can customize the colors, the branding, etc. There's all different types of questions Get Feedback provides. For example, you want to measure CSAT, NPS, CES for your customers, or you can make completely custom questions and add logic for them as well, which is really useful. And then once that survey is made and published, you can then create the distribution URLs that we use to put in our email links. Can this be done via interactive email and marketing cloud by? Honest answer, I don't know, but I don't see why not. Be interesting to compare. I think that's all the questions. Let's have a look. Here we go. How do the results flow to a Salesforce dashboard if the platform you use is not a Salesforce platform? So because Get Feedback creates objects within Salesforce, we can then create a data set using these objects, which Analytics Studio then uses to display. I don't know how it would work with SurveyMonkey, or even if it could, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't. As I said, Get Feedback's purpose-built. There's lots of Salesforce integrations, not just what I've shown here today. So it's the objects, the data set, and then Analytics Studio to present those results. Any more for any more? Okay, well, thank you for the questions and thank you all for listening. Like I said, please feel free to add me on LinkedIn if you want to chat about any of this or more info on Get Feedback. It seems like it's a platform not a lot of people are aware of. Be happy to chat.
Hi, sorry, I'm sorry. My mic went off for 1 second. There was another question that came in, or a couple of them that have actually come in. Does Pardot have interactive email?
I don't know is the honest answer.
Okay.
I don't think it's easy to create interactive elements in Pardot, but it's not something I've tested. The response rates for the emails as they are have been really good. So I don't think it's something necessary for us at the moment to make it, that one step easier, because we are getting, I think we're about 9-10% response rates on our surveys. So we're pretty happy with that at the moment.
That's awesome. And if folks have resources to share, please feel free to pass those into the chat as well for other people to look at. We have another question that came in from Jackie. Is Get Feedback an annual fee?
Yes, it is. And they do offer different packages and bespoke packages. So I would encourage, if you're looking into it, to get in touch with them, or give me a shout. I can put you in touch with someone there, because there's lots of different elements and connection numbers and survey numbers, and obviously it varies hugely depending on what you're using it for and what type of business you have. So they're quite flexible.
Great, thank you so much. And taking a look at chat just to make sure nothing else came in. If other folks have questions, we have about 8 minutes left in our session. Okay, well, if that is our session for, looks like one just came in from Alex. Let me give a second and share it. Where in Get Feedback are you able to generate the survey link that grabs merge fills from Pardot lists?
So when you go into the survey, there's a section called Distribute, and under email, there's an area for Pardot templates. So I think I mentioned before, it can actually create an entire email template or a section of a template for you. And that's where you can specify which merged fields you want in the URLs that actually answer the questions. So what I tend to do is generate that code and just pinch the URLs out of it and add it to our buttons in the emails.
Great, thank you so much. Any other questions that folks want to ask? Just checking the chat again really quickly to make sure we're not missing anybody. Okay, well, great. Well, I want to again thank Juliet for a great and fantastic and informative presentation. Thank you again so much. I'm glad we had plenty of time for Q&A as well. Just again, thank you everybody for our sponsors. If you do have time with the remainder of your day, please check out other Mar Dreaming sessions. Again, thank you everybody for attendance. Thank you, Juliet, for your awesome presentation, and have a great rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you very much.